Thank you. Very good morning to you all, respected professors from different universities, from both international and national communities, the uh, different intellectuals who are here today, the students, the administrative staff. Thank you very much for this opportunity. This particular conference in my life is slightly different, and I will appreciate and share this through my life because I think for more than I have been witnessing 30 more plus conferences, but this is very special because this which has a social message that you can contribute to a particular community, to an area which is in a slight remote. So I'm very happy here, and I thank Professor Mahanti, Dr. Sunita, everyone for this opportunity. My topic is slightly different, though, but I'll be talking a lot on the social aspects, the business aspects, and then I'll be trying to get you into the understanding of why AI is important and how you should use it. So the topic says ethical and responsible use of artificial intelligence in digital age. We all are into digital age, and there are lots of things that surround us. In precise, I think we are living with mobiles, means we are living in a digital age. So if you just imagine one day, you wake up in the morning, you don't have a mobile, what happens? You're stuck. Again, you find your mobile, you don't have internet. What happens? The same thing. Okay? So that is the impression that digital technology is doing. It's in our lives today. Okay? So just a brief introduction. I am already introduced. So I'll just concentrate on this. My area is digital business ecosystem design. Basically, I'm teaching software engineering and business information systems, and this is where I'm concentrating nowadays. How emerging technologies are important in business. So my main concentration here is how do you generate value? Because if an information system is not generating value, it's not going to be with you. And it's not going to be sustainable. So that again puts up the idea of how AI is going to be a part of the different technologies that are emerging. So you can get me in touch with my details. It's very simple. I'm lucky, this is what I was saying to Professor Devnath. I'm the only person who has Deepanjal@hotmail.com. So if you know my name, you can bring it to anything, @hotmail, @yahoo. So I was lucky to get this without paying any fee. Okay, I have this. Yeah, thank you. So this is the place where I come from. This is a beautiful city, Pokhara. And I teach in Pokhara University. You can see this is the university I am. This is the tourism capital of Nepal. So if you visit Nepal, if you don't visit here, your business is complete. So we live in Himalayas, yeah. And then I will also relate that my roots with India are also very similar. Yesterday I had the privilege to meet Shri, the Indian freedom fighter. Just to let you know that my great grandfather was also part of Azad Hind Fauj. Yes. Just to make it more precise, I lost one of my brothers while he was serving in the army in Amar Ran Peace Camp. And my mama is a winner of a Sena medal. So I have so many. So whenever I come back to India, it's like visiting my home again and again. And I was educated in Himachal Pradesh from Kannada. So that's why we all the children days are coming. Okay. So I will start on building up with something, the basic idea which out of my experiences, I think is very important. So the thing is, data is the new oil. Yeah. Like you need energy. So in information technology, data is very important. You talk about AI, you talk about information systems, you talk about business, you talk about governance, you talk of anything. You need to have the data. So data is the fundamental. So I classify it as data is the new oil. So you need to know many things about data. So see how are data collected? This is explainable. You are every time clicking something So you are getting data, a lot of data. A lot of data is going into the different systems, Facebook's, social sites, Google, yes. And data is intensive, data is rich. I'll explain you how. So see, this is a snapshot which is by Ray Counter. How much data is processed in one day? You can see here, Twitter 500 million, 4 petabytes. Okay, so this is what is happening. So take a look at a day in a wonderful world of data. So much of data we are using. We are just surrounded by data, only data. Okay, and this is what emerging technologies are doing. So I've made it slightly specified. See, if you're talking about IoT, you have location-specific information which is real-time data. Mobiles, they give you the real-time data, preciseness. Okay, so the kind of data that these technologies are taking up today is huge, is very rich, is very precise. Okay, so you can just see here AI, big data, cloud, blockchains, and many more. There are so many technologies that will come up in the coming days. Okay, so what are we into? So see, the paradigm is changing. Mostly of the daily tasks and services and can now be performed with the aid of digital applications or gadgets. Mobile is a gadget. So you are using or you're doing your daily work through the applications and the gadgets which are digitally controlled. So see, even high-tech companies like Google, Facebook, Netflix, Amazon all have access to huge amount of data. Then this phenomenon suggests that the business of the data will become significant sector for the global economy. So in the coming days, if you can manipulate data, if you can utilize data, if you can manage data, you are going to be the leader. This is slightly, I think, your professor for the business can explain you how information is very important. Yes, we say that information is power, and that's very important to understand. And then future looks into the ways data can improve our lives. So we are using data to improve our lives. What does mobile doing to you? It's controlling your data. You can contact people, you can make transactions, you know your social life, you can get connected to the friends. So data is very important. Now another thing that has happened with the computing technology is that we have come up with the immense computational power. See here, this is a snapshot right from 1940s to 2017. How things have changed. Right from the data era until 1940, we are talking about the capsule networks. Yes, we're talking about the deep learning, we're talking about the reinforcement. And these things are huge, immensely powerful computing machines, high-end computing systems. So we have achieved that. Okay. So you have powerful computers, you have GPUs, and then they are working like human time. Like your brain can process, the same way computers can process. So that level has been achieved. Then, so remember what happened earlier? Earlier we were talking about, we were writing the line of codes, which were called algorithms, and then we were feeding into the systems. But now you don't do that. You feed the data and that will be recognizing what kind of algorithm is being run. So we are on to the reverse technology. Yes, this is what AI is doing. This is what is the age of AI. This is what AI will do in future. Okay? This is another one. See, we can think about this. Do you think technology is challenging us? Yes or no? Yes, in many ways. Yes. See, like when you get up early in the morning, there are few things that you're required to do. Similarly, your mobile, your information has become a part of your life. So how they are challenging you? So this was two things that happened in the AI. That one was the Deep Blue beats the chess world champion Gary Kasparov. We all know this. So he was won by a supercomputer. That's one. And recently, Google DeepMind AlphaGo, this learned to play Go alone, and then it made the world champion Lee Sedol lose. Okay? So what happens is, this is what is going to happen with the technology. Technology is going to challenge you every time. I am teaching in the two different streams. When I go to business school, I teach information systems. When I go to engineering school, I again teach computer science and engineering. When I go to business school, I say to my students, become so intelligent that you overpower the machines. And when I go to engineering school, I say the reverse. I say, make machines so powerful that they overpower the humans. So I'm living in the two very cups of my life. Yeah. So then if you see here, this is what has been done. Yeah, the two wins above are examples of the virtually unlimited boundaries and application of artificial intelligence in our daily life. So the more power, the more responsibility. This is what is going to happen. We as computer scientists, We as social entrepreneurs, we as managers, the government officers, we have to take care of the technology versus us because we cannot lose the value of humans. So technology is very important, but then we need to find it very closely to humans. So that is the more power we have from the computers, the more responsible we should become. So this is what technology is doing. So many technologies. I just listed few. You find so many VR technologies, MR, blockchains, machine learning, data mining, GIS. What are these doing? These are giving you personal experience. They're affecting your life. They're creating transformations in your life. You are living a better life. See, I am here because of information technology. So better life. You go to a restaurant, don't carry the money. But it confirm you have a UPay, you have a mobile pay. So that is changing your personality. You don't know anything, you log into a chat GPT, you take an answer from there. So your life has become better. Your generation is more knowledgeable than our generation at that time. Okay? So, but then you also have issues like security, privacy, and trust. Okay, so that are also coming along with the information technology and the technologies which are coming. So have you ever thought how much data is being collected and how? And what is going to happen with this data in future? Okay? So just let us take an example. See social science. Have you ever realized how much data social science are collecting of you and how they can use it in future? This is one of the reasons that I think relating it with the responsible use of AI. So that is why I opened up talking about why data is important. Okay? So see, they take up your personal information, behavioral information, location, connection interactions, search, browsing history, media, payment, transaction, third party. Whatever you do, a single click is also recorded. So that means you are being tracked every click twice. So that much of data is being collected by the social science. And we never thought what is going to happen. But let me give you a scenario. See, if you're talking about AI, artificial intelligence, data is basic. If you don't have a good data, you cannot train your models. When you talk of supervised models, when you talk of unsupervised models, what do you do? See, Elisa, she talked about the data pre-processing. There are so many professors who are working on two different algorithms. And like Professor, so this, he was telling that he had a limited data, but still he optimized his models. So data is very important. Okay. So good data, because they give you features, it depends on the data, what type of training you are going to quality of, improve the quality of the models, pre-processing, hyper-tuning, computational resources, see volume and variety of data. What are the parameters of data you are using? Okay, and then accuracy of labeling, accuracy of data. It should not be fake. Yeah, it should not have, noise into it because that will disturb the machine learning model. So I'm just correlated. See, I'm talking at the one end, I'm talking about how social sites are taking up your data, how much data, how precise data, how rich data. Then on the other hand, I'm saying how AI is requiring this data. So when these two will mix, you won't know what is going to happen. Okay? Just take up a simple example. This is what I actually tell my students. Suppose there is a handsome gentleman outside you are married. Assume you are not married. Okay? So suppose he has a choice to marry three girls. One is his girlfriend, the other is shown by his parents, and the one is recommended by a friend circle. Now he may not know whom to marry because he likes all three. But let me tell you, Facebook tell you. The Facebook is going to tell whom he is going to marry. Why? Because he'll be tracking the particular person. He'll be clicking, he'll be going by. So Facebook will have an idea whom he likes. So Facebook can predict. So but social site like Facebook will be able to predict who will be your ultimate choice. This is because they have a precise data. Have you ever thought in the beginning we had only two buttons for the Facebook? Now they've distributed into five. They're calculating your sentiments, what you love, what you care, what you hate, what you dislike. This is not a simple model. There are thousands of psychologists and behavioral scientists and engineers working behind. They are all trying to get your data to enrich their data resources. And then they are going to improve this AI models. Think the next level of capability is this. This is going to be devastating. If it goes for the good purpose, it's going to be a great achievement. But if it is reversing, then it just will get catastrophic. Okay? So how much data does a social site know about you and how they can use AI to predict your life is a questionable state. So isn't this interesting? What can be the ultimate use in future? What do you think can be the ultimate thing in future? Can anyone widely say this is what is going to happen? The gentleman with the panther, you look very interesting. Anyone? So see, we cannot say it right now because we haven't seen the implementation. They are still on the very preliminary stage of collecting data. Professor Kaliwa was asking me, if I have to ask you what generation of AI we are into, I could not answer him correctly, but though I interpreted it, then I reversed this question to Professor Devnath. I asked sir, at what AI generation we are living? He said initial, it's just starting. And I think this is what I told you also. Okay. So that is what going to happen. AI is going to be very, very complex, but they need to have data. And data are coming from social sites, mobiles, touch points, sensors, everywhere. Even when you're entering the airports, you are sensed by CCTV, the data is going there. There's so much is happening nowadays. So I will just now try to relate how data has created few incidents in the past. This list one, data breach and the role of AI. This was known as Cambridge Analytica scandal in 2018. And this data was used for the political purpose and interpreted. Okay, so it was 87 million Facebook users. Data was harvested without their consent, and then this was used as to build a psychological profile and to use a target them with a personalized political campaign. Okay, even right now we hear this is happening with this. Okay, so but that's always there. It's going to be there. That's a part of the geopolitics, political system, business, governance that goes on. The simple part is this one. This raised concern of the transparency, inadequate data protection, unauthorized data sharing, and the role of social media in influencing the political outcomes. This is very important. So, given a thought of how AI can be legal in such cases, it's manipulating people, it's manipulating community, it's manipulating mass. That's where it is important. There are other things happen. You can just Google and find a lot of data breaches happening. So LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook again, Clubhouse, Snapchat, many more. The central question here is how can this massive data and AI integration can create impact on our lives? Either they will make it better or they will make it worse. That is the central question. So that is why we need to understand how to use AI responsibly. What are the ethical dilemmas? How do we control this technology? So, what if AI misuses data? This is I'm taking from the very example of Facebook. It has collected your Facebook data, now it misuses it. How can it? It can create personalized manipulation. It can change the character of a person. You see, there is a lot of war going on the Facebook. Somebody is writing good about Shah Rukh Khan. Somebody is writing bad about Shah Rukh Khan. Somebody is after Salman Khan. This is important. And these thus influences people. You say something, the word called as viral. And viral is creating an impact on the personal life of people. Another one, behavioral targeting. They understand your behavior. You're using Amazon, they will track your behavior, what you choose to buy. And they will follow you through everything. Okay? Then, identity theft and fraud. You may have your duplicate data. We are into the world of surveillance and profiling. Where are you going? What are you doing? Whom are you stalking? Everything. Such important data. Even your internal data is being calculated here. And they're always learning it. It's not only collecting data, but they're also understanding what you as a human are doing it. And that can be very, very lethal. So, AI further concerns that are raised is under the technical issues with AI itself. We cannot guarantee AI models to be 100% accurate. That was Professor Dev, Professor Satish, and Professor Vishnu, they all told about this. 100% testing the system is not possible. Those who have studied software engineering, they know it. We go by the Pareto principle, 80-20. Okay? So, how do they bias and discriminate? See, computer programs are written by humans. The algorithms are written by humans. So if you don't like something, you just put it there. That's a biased algorithm. And if AI is using that, what will happen? Okay, then security, privacy concern. And then another important part, are they implemented ethically? There are so many things happening in the background. Do you guarantee that whatever Facebook is doing is legally approved? No one of us knows that. But they're doing it. Okay? Then, how about dependence on AI? Think of a world where only AI is being used. What will happen at one day when all of you are into AI? Yes, you will be like robots. Fine? Then, is it a tool for job displacement? Another concern that is coming up, Industrial 4.0 said that people will be replaced by robots. Then we're talking about Industry 5.0, where we say that we need to have human interference to decide the final goals. Okay? Then, can we guarantee? And there are so many other issues that are surrounding AI. Okay? So another part is working in three: pre-model, in-model, and post-model. So pre-model will dictate the in-model will dictate the post-model. So all three are very important. If you go wrong here, you are trading the wrong model. You're doing something which is not going to help you. And this is totally dependent on data. That's what is important. Okay? Then pre-model and then black box model and hard to the brain.
That we are going to do something called as hard black box model. So that we are only doing the functional testing. We don't have an idea how the output is produced. Okay?
So that is one of the little things. So do we understand the features learned by the models? See here, it is not given to assure that they are learning features that are relevant to the domain. You're training something, are you 100% sure this is what exactly is required? Okay? So this is where AI is sensitive. So impact of AI. Where is AI going to impact? See, everywhere. Everywhere. You cannot stop the boom of AI. Like some few years ago, we were struggling with the ICT, information and communication technology. We have achieved that now. Now the next computing generation is artificial intelligence. And if you don't adopt it, you are left behind. Okay, so you have to run, you have to jog with AI. So you cannot ignore it. Why? Because it will impact your culture, it will impact the channels you're talking to, people, strategies, policies, governance, knowledge, technology, growth, innovation. Everywhere, it will impact every aspect of human endeavor. Wherever you find human beings involved, you will find AI application. Okay? So, how do we control AI? Or what is responsible AI? So, responsible AI is only a keyword that is going to be coined after this boom of AI. So, it's a framework that allows you, that helps you, that actually lets you know how do you use AI. Things that I have actually identified. So AI has to be explainable, number one. The models that you are using it, you should tell people this is how the output is coming. This is why you are using it. That's very important. Then secure. Secure. Then human-centered. Don't make things that will take humans away. The technology is for humans, is to solve the life of humans, to make the life easy of humans, not to put them in trouble. That's very important. Then monitorable, you should be able to monitor. Whatever you're getting is authentic, is right, is correct. There are so many incidents that are happening earlier past. Thalic 25 was one of the devastating cases where a machine was injecting the dose and it injected a wrong medicine and then there were so many deaths happened. Okay, so AI can be on the same part. Then transparent, fair and unbiased. See, when I talk of fair and unbiased, this is important because you are coding the algorithm. So your emotions, your priorities can change the system. Okay, so it's very important for you to take the AI as a very responsible stream. So how do we use AI responsibly? There are so many things happening. Okay, a very simple part is that don't use machines for something that contradicts the law. By law, it's everything. Human values, okay? It is about the state law, yes? It's about your organization law, the policies, okay? So you don't have to. So EU is working, so you can go to this EU AI ethics guideline. Then there is OECD, which is working on AI. Then you have GDPR and CCPA, these are internet-based laws which are formed. Where I think India has its own law. And then you can follow the laws and the norms of the concerned country and organization. See, because this social science are blooming so much, they're coming into a lot of existential form. Every country has now made it mandatory that those particular organizations must register in a particular country and follow the norms. Okay? We all know this that China blocks all the social sites. Why? Security, cultural disintegration. That's what they are doing. Okay? So we have to come up with different type of guidelines which are controlling the information technology. Implementing AI practices. How do you practice that? See, put AI as an important part of your system design. Suppose your college is trying to make an information system. You should think from the scratch that AI will be there. How do you use AI? For what purpose do you use AI? What is the objective of AI in your system design? So put it into your life cycle design of the system. Then, technical solutions. Whenever you are using artificial intelligence, you open up a design, you should be able to convince your customer. This is why I'm using AI. This is what it will do. Okay. Then education and training, very important. This is one of the basic things that is required both in Nepal and India. We need to educate people. We need to tell what AI can do, how they can control it, and if something catastrophic happens, how to take care of it. Okay? So training and education is very, very important for all developers, users, and all the stakeholders. Another aspect of responsible AI is use it responsibly. See, there is a word which is called netiquette. I don't know if you have heard of this word or not. Etiquette says that when you're posting something on internet, please don't forget your etiquettes. Don't forget your manners. Don't write anything that you want to. So it is the same thing. When you're using AI, think that you have to use it responsibly. You want to make the life of the people more simplified and value-added, not to worsen them. Okay? Building public trust in AI technologies. This is going to happen. Because if AI is creating something which takes the trust of the people away, then business houses will be in trouble. Yes, government structures will be in trouble. So they have to know that AI is for their good. It's not for bad. Yes, laws that account for the liability of decision made by cities is also important. Autonomous system. Nowadays you have cars, automobiles which are outfitted with the softwares. An accident happens because of the malfunctioning of the software. Okay, so what is who is liable? You have to think in these terms. Okay, so when you're coding automatic system or even coding automation softwares, you have to take care of it. Continuous validation and monitoring for laws, regulations, and policies. Technology changes every 6 months. So you have to update your policies. It's not like we made it in 2014 and till 2024. You are using the same one. No. Then human rights, particularly privacy, freedom of speech and dignity. And another important part, emotional harm. I don't know how many of you have witnessed it. I think the lady students are a part of this. Yes, and it's a very simple one. You posted a photo and somebody wrote it down. You look ugly. That matters. Yes, or a person is putting up like Aman sir puts up a poem. Yes, and then we say, wow, what a poem. You will dance. We say, what have you written? Definitely it will be bad. So emotional pain, harm should be controlled. Okay. So, if you ask me what is the future direction for ethical and responsible AI? So there are needs. You can work onto this area. This is a new area. Develop frameworks, develop the structures that are aligned with the technological advancements. Collaborate among government, international organizations, and private sectors. Because IT is a global technology. It's not only making for your own particular country or a particular area. You have to think globally. So right from your local to global, you have to collaborate with everyone who's a part of it. Yes. Establish comprehensive policies for AI ethical issues. Right from data collection to usability to training model, everything has to be very clear. I asked one of the guys yesterday. I said, how do you control data? He told me that you take a declaration. That is consent. But still, consent doesn't allow you to use data randomly. But what you can do is you can remove the names of the person, hide their personal things, and still train the model. So that won't affect their privacy. You don't send the data out. Anonymity is one of the part that you do it. Okay? And only collect the data which is required. Then develop robust regulatory frameworks, very important. If something goes wrong, how do you punish them? Raise public awareness of AI ethics. What is AI and what are the ethical dilemmas? Foster multidisciplinary collaboration. See, computer science is multidisciplinary. Everywhere it is. right from your health sector to governance to politics to business, everywhere. So you have to think in the holistic form, okay? And then proactively anticipate future ethical dilemmas. What can happen? What if? What if? So these are the scenarios that you should build up. And this is important when you're a student of PCA studying a software engineering, studying a system design. So this is very important for you to understand. So at the last, I don't have a very long conclusion. Just one line. AI is a tool if we implement it wisely. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dipanjan. Thank you, Dipanjan, for such a wonderful talk. It reminded me of two things. One, the marriage you are talking about. 20 years back, we had studied a problem known as stable matching algorithm. I don't know whether or not you people have studied, but please Google it. Stable matching algorithm, which is very similar to our ancient Indian system. 36 gunas. You know, 36 gun milta hai tab shadi hoti hai.
Yes.
Right? So that stable matching algorithm which was developed back in the 80s, later in part of 80s, that is very much relevant today also. Second thing about the ethical guidelines we are telling, the government of India is going to bring out a policy document on ethical guidelines on use of AI in the health sector, health informatics, and I'm a part of that membership members, which is guiding the board in the policy. So ethical issues are very much relevant today because abuse of AI is also happening, and you have discussed it very well. That. Thank you very much.
For the next one.
With more than 25 years of research and teaching experience, Professor Chandra stands as a testimony of excellence. And alumnus of VIT Meshra, Professor Chandra needs no more introduction. So, sir, I request you to please chair the technical session.
Good morning again. In the formal session today, we have two in-person presentations and two online presentations. First presentation is by Mr. Aman Tiwari. Aman sir, please. Yes.
A very good morning to all the delegates present here, respected Shukran and other Professor Devnath, Satish sir, Vishwambar sir, Aryan sir. This is a presentation on, because I've heard people who have talked about technical themes related to the role of artificial intelligence in our lives. Being a literary person and a poet, I'm going to talk about the role of AI in poetry. So my topic will speak about AI intervention in creative pursuit, the algorithmic methodology of AI in reproducing poetry. I've tried my best. I'm not that technically sound, but being an engineering dropout, I understand how a bit of mathematics helps in AI reproduction of poetry. That is, creating a similar rhyming pattern, creating a similar syllabic pattern, rhythmic pattern, and similar kind of emotional pattern in a poetry. But not exactly. That is my conclusion at the end. So, Nishant, next slide. Okay, so the introduction is the rapid advancement of artificial intelligence has extended its influence across various creative fields, as in music, words, technology and technical aspects. But I'm going to talk about the role of AI in creative pursuit, like poetry basically. My target will be poetry. So it's and also how AI cultural kind of poetry adherence. So next slide, Nishant. So math versus poetry. If we go ahead with math versus poetry, poetry is nothing else but the logical and mathematical way by which a poet expresses emotions, experiences. Students, please follow. So if I say the boulder was kept high and it fell from an eye. An example. The boulder was kept high and it fell from an eye. So a poet will say in this way, but how will the Mother Earth express this thing? She would rather say that the height was h and s was ut plus half at square. So u was initially 0. So finally the distance traveled was half at square. This is again a mathematical expression of the distance that happened from the top of the building to the bottom of the building. That's the ground. So poetry and mathematics are somehow related. We understand. We'll understand later with more of expression. So mathematics is nothing. Yes, ma'am. I'll complete my now. Mathematics is nothing but the abstract and sentimental way of the nature, the cosmos, and the earth express equations, formula, identities which govern the future of the working of the universe. Nishant, next slide. Poetry is structure, patterns, and abstraction. Both are related. And if we see the rhythm, meter, rhyme, which can be described mathematically, poetry has this kind of beauty. If we talk about sonnet, which is a 49 poem, so it has a pattern like ABAB, CDCD, EFEF, and GG. 49. This is the rhyming pattern. Nishant, next slide. Okay, so math versus poetry. Beyond formal structure, both poetry and math rely on abstraction. Abstraction, you understand, is kind of emotional thing or emotion. A mathematical equation distills a complex real problem into a real life situation. Complex real problem. In this way, poetry and mathematics are linked by a shared quest to a hidden truths about patterns, structure, and abstraction, offering a unique lens to perceive the world. Next slide. Nishant, yeah. So what is a meter in a poetry? Students, I like to explain this to you. What is a meter in a poetry? Although it's a very complex thing, but I have simplified it very easily. So meter, first we understand the study of meter in a poetry is called a prosody. Prosody. So meter is a pattern of stressed and unstressed syllable. I tell you what, I'll not explain all this. Suppose there's a word called banana. Banana. So ba is something which I have stressed. Na is unstressed. And again, banana. So it's like stressed, unstressed, and stressed. So it's kind of it's 3-syllable pattern: stressed, unstressed, and stressed. So these are called meters in poetry. So we'll understand later stressed, unstressed, and unstressed syllable. Next slide, Nishant. So types of poetic meters. I'll complete very soon. Types of poetic meters. So one is an iamb. Iamb is what? It's an unstressed and stressed syllable which has a sound like da-dum. Da is unstressed and dum is a stressed. Which example is destroy. Des, unstressed. Troy is stressed. Next is talkies. Talkies what? Da-dum, which is garden. Garden is a stressed and unstressed. Then comes spondees. Spondees what? Da-dum. Both are stressed. For example, blood red. Both are stressed. Next comes tactiles, which are Dada, which is elephant. And a test, which is unstressed, which is understand. This way it happens. Please start next slide. Metered poetry, this is not very important, but I'll tell you. There are three types of poetry with formal verse, blank verse, and free verse. Free verse is like in Hindi we call it mukta, it's free verse. Next slide, Ishan. Okay. So now I talk the main thing which has come is probability in poetry. Probability in poetry. So we talk about how probability in mathematics can be applied in poetry. So probability can be applied to predict the possible direction of a poet's next thought or stanza. But this involves modeling of a poem's progression as the poem moves ahead, which is inherently creative and influenced by the number of factors like word choice, we'll discuss this very interestingly later on, theme, rhyme, meter, and even cultural context, social context, cultural context. Next slide. Okay, so there are certain aspects of probability like Markov's chain. Markov's chain is what? I'll give you an example, I'll not discuss the theoretical part. If we analyze poets' previous works as in, suppose the and is followed by loss 40% of time. Next, joy 30% of time, and despair 30% of time. Based on this, if the poet has already written a stanza, about love, we can say that the assigned probability is what next might be, based on all his previous works, right? Next slide, Nishan. Okay. Then comes the anagram models. Anagram models talks about which is poets prior similar poetry. Suppose the example is poet has written, please focus on this. The night is dark and full of dash. The night is dark and full of dash. So probable words can be dreams 30%, terrors 25%, stars 20%, silence 15%, and love 10%. Which means that if the poet says the night is dark and full of dash, which means it cannot be love because they are opposite things, right? Next line, Nishan. Sentiment analysis and thematic probability. We're talking about mathematics and probability related to each other. Okay. So I'll just give the example. Suppose their first two stanzas are filled of themes of despair, hopelessness, themes of despair. You might assign probabilities based on patterns. 60% of chance that it will continue with despair theme. Okay. 20% chance that the poet shifts to themes of hope. 15% of chance philosophical turn, and 5% chance that it will reverse with joy, delight. Next slide, Nishan. Okay. Now comes the Bayesian probability, which we do Bayes theorem in school, like sir, Bayes theorem. So, using Bayesian theorem inference, we can say that suppose based on the prior analysis of poet's work, we can say that there's a 50% chance, based 50% that the poem will have an imagery of nature which will shift towards existential theme. For example, after reading the first stanza, which introduces concepts of life and death, you might update this probability to 80%, reflecting the likelihood of an existential focus on the evidence. We'll see examples later. Nishan, please next slide. So Bayesian probability, let's see the example. At first the sky was red at dawn, a crimson truth I knew, but clouds emerged and shadows born, a doubts were born in every hue. Next, a whisper, no, slide back, Nishan. Back, Nishan. A whispered breeze, I'll not in the next 5 minutes. A whispered breeze brought songs to me of golden streaks and silver rain. And now the sky once red and tree shifts color with each print of game. So you see this first two stanzas and the last stanza. So in this poem, the speaker begins with a firm belief the sky was red at dawn. But as more evidence comes in the entire poem, doubts were born in every hue and the sky is always gray. That reflects the essence of the Bayesian probability, which gives the evidence as the poem progresses, and at the end, the information becomes available that what the initial start was with the increase in probability, the end was clear. Please move ahead, Nishan. Topic modeling and latent semantic analysis. I just discussed the data example. 50% chance that the poet will talk about the passage of time, 30% chance that they will focus on the beauty of the moment, and 20% chance they will shift to the theme of the death of loss when a poem starts with a description of trees, wind, birds, a topic model typically moves from nature description to theme of life cycles, certainty, or certain probability. Next, Nishan. Word concurrence and lexical choices like a word beneath the silver moon I want the seeking. Peace 35%, truth 25%, love with 20%, death and life. So you can understand the poem. Beneath the silver moon, I wander seeking what? You can never seek light beneath the silver moon. You understand that, right, sir? You will generally seek what? Peace. So peace is highest probability with 35%. Next slide, please. So last is probability in poetry. So challenges and limitations. Creativity and surprise. This is almost open. So creativity and surprise. Poetry often thrives on defying expectations. Poets might deliberately subvert patterns. So it's limitation, right? Suppose they feel, no, I don't want to continue with a similar kind of pattern which I was writing. So might deliberately subvert the patterns, making it hard to predict with certainly what comes next. Like Shakespeare. Shakespeare was never predictable, right? He could do anything which might whimsically came to his mind. For lesser known poets or new works, we did not have data. AI did not have data, right? So he had few publications, so it is difficult to predict the poetry kind of emulate the poetry. Context and culture, a poet's thoughts are influenced by personal, cultural, or historical context, making the patterns more complex for the linguistic world and the AI to decipher. Next, Nishan. So how does AI replicate a poem? Briefly, I tell you. AI can mimic poetry by following the rules of meter, rhythm, and syllable pattern. In, like, for example, iambic pentameter, AI can analyze the structure of 5 metrical feet. 1 feet is what? Structured, unstructured. Stressed, unstressed. That's 1 feet. So iambic pentameter means 5 feet. 5 stressed and unstressed living in 1 line. So generally a poet writes, if he writes in pentameter, all the are in pentameter. Next slide, Nishan. Understanding meters in poetry. So iambic chalk, I have already described this that type. So if now comes for the computer science people. So unstressed is 0, stressed is 1. So it's like a machine language, 0, 1. Next slide, Nishan. So mathematical representation of a poem, poet's meter. Let's take an example of pentameter example. Compare thee to a summer's day. So it is 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. How? Shall is unstressed, I is stressed, so 0, 1, this way. Okay? Compare this way. Next slide, please. So this is represented in the mathematical pattern of machine language. Next. So now AI is processed, this follow process, AI for syllable detection, meter recognition, and pattern generation. I'll just read the last line, pattern generation. Once AI has the meter as a sequence of zeros and ones, it uses this as a template for generating new lines. Next slide, Nishan. The last part. Replication example, this example. Let's not go by the science of it, let's not understand the game. It's the tandem of our hearts have a chemistry that has a different name. When your heart starts beating fast, mind follows the rule. I've taken an emotional poem for that matter. This is AI's replication. This is original poem, this is AI's replication. So I'll just take the first example. Let's not go by the science of it. Let's not rely on the logic here. Let's not understand the game. We'll not seek to grasp the rules we play. It's the tandem our hearts have. It's the harmony between our hearts. And a chemistry that has a different name. A bond that words cannot convey. So see how AI wonderfully plays with the poetry. Next slide, Nishan. Conclusion. This is the conclusion of today's session. I'll give you this for you. AI, basically I'll tell you. What AI does is, AI has one system of converting poetry based on meters, rhythms, and rhyming patterns. But there's something called emotion, depth of emotion, or foresight, or something which is analysis observation. So, sir, when you told in the presentation, that Aman, if you choose price for you based on your social context. I was just about to ask you a question that a movie called Beautiful Mind by John Nash, there was an equation for John Nash for probability selection. I was just going to ask you how it integrates social context and probability in that. So somehow this is working like this. AI can replicate, I know, AI can do wonders, but it's all on humans. Like on the last line, on your conclusion, on my last line is, you said initially we used to feed algorithm and it gave results. Now we are entering results and we are getting the algorithms. Thank you so much.
AI for poetry. Good topic. Any question from the audience?
Yes, very unique idea.
Thank you, sir.
Getting literature with AI and literature. One thing I got in between, shall I can be, it can be when we are speaking, it can be spoken in so many ways.
Yes, sir.
It can be exclamation, it
Yes.
can be interrogation,
Yes, sir.
and it can be some kind of hopelessness.
Yes, yes.
Shall I?
Yes, sir.
So, how can we, and that is very much important in poetry.
So the next, first the line was, shall I compare to the moon?
Right. Shall I? So, how can we put that?
So actually, it is the second line of the poem is related to that. That's why I read the poem like that.
Somewhere with the words, we have to put it the thing with the calculation, some context also.
Exactly, 100%. Yes,
So,
yes,
what is your opinion?
so you're true, 100% true. So actually, the stressed and unstressed syllables are mostly related to the theme and context as well at times. For example, if the poet says in a hopelessness or in happiness or delight, or sometimes in overconfidence or underconfidence, the stress and unstressed syllables change. For example, but most of the times, at least in the about the grammatical context, if we say elephant, so it's like stressed, elephant, so it's like unstressed, and then fent is stressed. So this is the grammatical. But if you ask that how to pronounce it, narration and pronunciation, that's pretty good. But if a word, certain word has a particular, pattern of stress and unstress, that is fixed, sir. Actually. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Mathematics and poetry. I am quite familiar on the mathematics side. On the poetry side, I am an amateur. But I just want to go back to the end game. The end game is based on interpretation of poetry. When we interpret mathematics, it's based on facts. When we are looking at poetry, interpretation of poetry, it's based on opinions. So how can we be confident that mathematics or poetry can be put in the same basket? I can see the analysis, on the analysis part of poetry. Yes, we can go into all those probabilities and all the bits and bytes you were giving, but on the interpretation of statistics, from the using facts, or do you interpret using opinions?
You asked me a personal opinion about poetry, or in general.
Yes, because your work is quite unique and very mind-opening. It's very, very interesting. But I just wanted to know, because when we link mathematics to something, it has to be based on, according to my opinion, it has to be based on facts. Because mathematics is factual. 1 + 1, 2 in India, in Africa, in water, out of water. But a poem, it depends on so many factors when you are interpreting.
So,
Which
sure.
just,
So I'll since we have a constraint of time, I'll try to answer in 2 lines. So what I've understood from your question, Dr. Professor advised. Mathematics is universal and poetry is quite individualistic. That's what I've understood. So how do we relate mathematics to poetry in terms of interpretation, right, sir?
Yes.
So I understood this question. I think it's a personal choice. But the analysis that's where artificial comes in, sir. Artificial intelligence comes in and answers the question how the data has been, as sir has told, how much data has already been put in based on the number of poets and their works which has already been created by for so many years. What I've understood. Hope, love, despair, hatred, and how the further prediction. So interpretation, if we talk about interpretation and mathematics, since I do not get much time to describe it, like probability, permutation and combination, statistics, all things can be applied. Maybe we'll have a discussion after the program and we'll have a connected. Thank you so much.
I just have one last question, the personal one. Because poetry is an art, right? And most of the artists now actually hate AI because, it makes the art less authentic. So from your personal point of view as a poet, I know that you're a poet, how do you feel about having AI making art less authentic?
Wonderful question, and thank you so much for asking that question. Once I completed my book, I was so sad that day because on the last day, I put one data in the AI on love. I did not have any idea about ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I completed my book of 200 poems.
Right.
Then on the last day, when the book was completed, on the very next day, I put on ChatGPT, write a poem on love. It gave a wonderful poem on love. But I was very shocked that the poem was nicely rhymed, nicely metered. But when I read the poem, I agreed in the next moment because it lacked a lot of depth. That's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
We can take one more question from the audience if anyone wants to ask. So, for the audience, please open your ChatGPT when you go. Yeah. Use ChatGPT to this one. Please use ChatGPT and ask it to write a poem for your better half. A poem for your better half. And you look how beautiful it writes. That is the role of AI in poetry. Anyway, so we have, thank you, Mohammed. Next we have Dr. Charanlal Agarwal. Not this.
So you could not make it, it's come still on the way.
Dr. Jayanti. Yes. Dr. Jayanti, what from? From Jamshedpur Women's College. You are a wonderful audience. Big clap for yourself. I request that please put your mobile phones in silent, okay, for next 2 or 3 hours, right? 2 hours. I would like to inform you that at the end of this today's boardroom session, we have an additional paper to be presented by our director, sir, Mr. R.N. Mahan. A mathematical argument in favor of scientific grammar as adjunct to transition to computer programming language. Right? So please have patience in listening to him. Right? Okay, you can start now.
To all my respected seniors and all available here, and respected Shukla ma'am, who has always been an inspiration for me. Myself Jayanti, and I'm a research scholar in Jamshedpur Women's University. And today I look forward to discuss the topic with you is ethical and responsible use of AI-enabled talent management in respect of HR. Like how can we use the AI ethically and responsibly in talent management? So that's my topic. Coming to the first slide. Introduction. As we know, AI cannot be neglected in any field, like its education, HRM, any field we cannot neglect the AI and its. But as we see in the HRM, it was started in 2010, like we started using the AI tools. Then going towards 2015, we started the video interviews, then chatbot, and 2021, then we talked about the diversity and inclusion using your like AI, going towards the skill and performance assessment. So it has been evolving over the years, and we have to see like where are we now as per like we are moving 2022 to 2024 and then 2025. Look, where are we right now? Like how can we use it effectively? So coming to the next slide. The keywords which I have used is artificial intelligence, talent management, and ethical considerations. As we use AI, but it's very important to consider the ethical laws as well. Like we have to be ethical while using the AI so that we don't like fall apart in any part. And AI streamlines talent acquisition by automation, so it can like be helpful for organization in many ways. It can empower the data-driven like strategies. We can use the strategies which is automated and fast, so we can save our time and energy. Coming to the next slide. So here I have given the visual representation of how and what are the ways that AI is transforming the talent management. So main points we can have here is key research, like key search of the employees and what are we looking for in the organization. So key search of that, and then auto recommendations on the basis of recent search we can get, and also speech synthesis, sentiment analysis, and system-based chats. So all these ways are improving the talent management process in HR. The next slide is use of automation and AI in talent management. So what are the main points and topics where we can use? Like we can use it as robotics interviews, which can be more like effective, and then candidate information like resume screening we can do through AI, which can be really effective, and analysis and categorization of data, because we have so much of data to collect and then analysis, so we can use AI effectively. So these are the main points. Then gamification of selection process, where we can use the talent management using AI. Coming to the next slide. But whenever we are using AI, it's very important to fulfill the ethical requirements. What are the ethical considerations we should look into when we are using AI in talent management? First of all, mitigating the bias and be fair. Be fair to everyone so that we cannot have that biasness. And then transparency is very important. Prioritizing the privacy and consent of the data, like whichever data we are using, it's very important to have the consent and transparency of that. Then maintaining human participation and minimizing the environmental impact. So it should be an overall approach, not only like focusing on AI, but all the aspects should be considered as important. Coming to the next slide. Ethical AI navigating the moral landscape of AI-driven talent management. So ethical AI, we can like ensure the ethical requirements by, because we know that HR involves and it like affects the livelihoods very much, right? It directly affects the livelihoods and lives of people. So it's very important to be ethical, and we can see that AI bounds norms, like they are bound to be ethical, transparent, fairness. So these are very important to be noted. So it is a balancing act of technological invention with ethical integrity. It's not all about technology, but we have to be ethical as well. Enhance the trust and confidence of the workers. Like whoever is working there, they should know that if the AI is being used, but it is not ethical. Like it should be ethical so that they can have also the trust in the enhanced technology. Going towards the next slide. So here, like we can use the people analytics ethics decision model. So first we intake, we use the model, and then we see like how the project is getting executed, and then implementation, evaluation. So it should be the wholesome process of that. Coming to the next slide is, so I need to explore much more in this like field because I have just studied not so much, but as of now I have found and I have been seeing some suggestions like AI should be like incorporated with a human touch. It should not be replaced. It is to be an incorporation of human. Human oversight is very important, and AI tools should be imposed in compliance with data protection laws. The very important point to be noted: data protection, privacy, consent. These are very important points which we can never neglect. Then organizations should apply ongoing training programs. Again, very important point because the environment is very much dynamic, right? So we cannot be stable and static to something which we are using. So training programs, training the employees towards the changes is very important, and regular feedback and analysis are also demanded. Like which AI we are using, the employees need to be considered that yes, they need to be concentrated that yes, they are in same area, like they are working in AI area, but they are not being harmed. So they should be having that trust on that. Coming to the next. So conclusion is all about like as we know AI is like improving in all the areas we are using AI, but it's very important to remember the point that it's a tool used by the people. The people use this tool, so it's very important to consider. And people may not trust and accept AI-driven decisions sometimes because most of the people think that the AI is taking everything out of their hands. So maybe they have not that trust. So improving some algorithm and improving some like ethical committees which can ensure that yes, ethical considerations are also fulfilled. And then a combination of artificial intelligence and model intelligence is likely like to be giving the best results, other than like using any one of them. Right? So combination is very much important. As we look to the future, the call to action will be like clear and grasping and understanding more things about AI practices in talent management and more like how can we use it more ethically in that way. And it is capable to match the right people in the right place in the blink of an eye. As we know, time is very like much valuable. Time is money. So to save the time, to save the energy, it's very important. But we have to use it wisely and according to the ethical laws as well. So that's about it. And coming to the last slide, I would like to conclude with this quote: "Our intelligence is what makes us human, and AI is the extension of that quality." Like this is the conclusion that I would like to give. So thank you so much for your attention. This was my first ever presentation in an international conference. We can discuss scholars. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
For timely presenting your.
Thank you, sir.
Presentation. Any question? We can take one question from the audience.
Comment. I just want to get your opinion on this. In one of your slides, you mentioned that enforcement of AI should combine with data preservation laws and ethical guidelines. Who sets the ethical guidelines? Because when we are talking of AI, we are talking of a global phenomenon.
Yes.
When we are talking of ethics, and when we are talking of laws, these extend from local, regional, and international, like that. So if we are looking at AI as a global phenomenon, and then we have different sets of rules, regulations, and laws, what applies in what apply to the next door country, Nepal. So how can that be done in your opinion? Thank you.
Like as much as I understood, I think you are asking like how can we have the ethical principles which can be different in like different in India, maybe different from the Nepal. Right?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So yes, as we know, in different countries there might be different considerations which is ethical or non-ethical. But as we talk about like as I am talking about as of now India, so ethical like principles, I think some of the ethical principles are same for many of the countries, but some may be like ethical here but non-ethical in the other country. I have to like now. So yeah. And I would like to answer this.
In fact, we are yet to come at international,
Yes.
internationally acceptable principles on ethical AI.
Yes.
But government of India has come up with an idea of establishing one ethical committee in all the institutions, educational institutions, and the practicing industries which are practicing in AI. Each of the institutions must have some ethical committee, especially the ones who are dealing with the medical or life sciences. Right? Okay. Thanks. You want to say something?
No, I just want to add to what Professor just said.
Because I think this, I also presented, so I'll answer you. Something called as opinion mining, and then you have something over called as liquid democracy. So opinion change the democratic norms and laws. So there's always an opinion mining happening, which keeps on improving the ethical framework. I hope I answered you. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you. Now next we have a presentation which is given by my guru, Professor Prabhat Kumar Mohanty ji. Is in Canada. His presentation and will be presented by Professor Vishwanath Patil here. Right? Topic is AI One for All. AI in Health. One Health for All. Right.
So, good afternoon. It's just again another humbling opportunity to present on behalf of my teacher. I have gotten a fortunate opportunity to have him as my co-supervisor of my PhD for 14 when I completed. And just with his blessings only, I am presenting on his behalf. So, the topic that he is the topic is basically AI for One Health approach for the benefit of humankind. We have been talking about ethical AIs, responsible AIs, AI generalizability, AI explainability. This topic is
Vishwanath, could you tell something about Professor Mohanty?
yes, in the next slide. So, before I start the topic, a little brief about Professor Mohanty. He graduated from Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, and from IIT Kharagpur, way back in 70s. He is presently Professor of Computer Science in University of New Brunswick, St. John. Earlier, he served in British Technology. So, now I come to the topic. Health is essentially about integration, applying it to the well-being of all. So when it is about all, it is about integration. So it is about the holistic health ecosystem. So it is an integrated, unifying approach that recognizes the health of humans and environment. So anywhere we design AI systems, probably we design in isolation. We are designing for a particular domain, and that is what we would find unique in this idea, which is upcoming, and sir is speaking about. So it is about integration of having a holistic system. So as such, the idea is about that these three areas must be integrated because they are deeply linked. What are the three areas of focusing on animals, human being, as well as on the environment. So the idea is that we should not design any system which is for computation, which should be in isolation. That we have been this feeling the defects of AI in isolation. That's why we have been talking about the limitations of AI. Perhaps if
taking from this perspective, this newly growing field of study, that is One Health, not only about health. So it is about the health of the ecosystem. It is not about the health of human being. So it is actually about health of humans, health of animals, but just considering this one point, that is environment, makes it holistic. So let's go about why this is needed. We talk about diseases. We have just felt COVID in the we have just a few years back we faced COVID. So this topic actually became very much relevant at that age. So disease just by treating human beings. We have to consider the animals and the environment. No disease happens just in the human being. It is because of the environment, and the environment consists of the animals also. There is complete life cycle that we can talk about. At the same time, environmental factors like deforestation, pollution contribute to the spread or evolution of diseases. So this is this basic idea of One Health, which is actually aiming at cross-sectional challenges for encouraging collaboration with the experts in human health, veterinary medicine, and environmental science. So this is actually the basic idea of this. So having gotten that idea, we would appreciate just by our thinking itself that we have to talk about these whole things. So we have to talk about disease surveillance. These are the primary fields that open up a vast field of research, specializing and focusing and keeping in mind the term integration. So disease surveillance and prediction is one field, diagnostic and treatment is another field, environment monitoring it yet another very prime focus which lies as a root of it, which throws up so many issues and problems, and serving which will actually serve the solutions. And at the core, everything will depend on policy. So AI, the topic is basically about how these issues raised by these concerns, these unfolding issues, they are or can be addressed by artificial intelligence systems. We realize that artificial systems are learning, they have some reasoning, and they help making decisions. So how do they do that? Okay. So we focus on this short presentation will now focus on each of these issues within a few minutes, and then we will conclude with some takeaway for our future research and issues. So disease surveillance, we can just see AI is known for making accurate and timely decisions. It can help in predicting where the outbreak will occur. It can analyze massive amounts of data from various wildlife movement, human travel patterns, climate changes, and social activity to identify the potential hotspots. We have just experienced it. These topics have been in the core of all solution efforts for COVID pandemic and future pandemic research. So, first, which make use of AI systems to scan new reports, official sources, and online discussions to detect report outbreaks of infectious disease around the world. So many efforts are being taken up by Johns Hopkins University and other places where they have particular forum for discussing pandemics and all.
Shiva.
Sorry. Sorry. Sorry for the interruption. So, okay, second issue is diagnostic and treatment. So it can help in early and decisive diagnosis of diseases, but we have been talking about medical image processing and other applications we have been thinking of that. And there is one concern about agriculture scientists. We had presentations about agriculture, how agriculture and bioinformatics, all those fields are affected and solved by AI methods. So that way, they will help. The focus has to be on crop fail, protection of food security, and preventing environmental effects. It's not only about the technology that is to be highlighted about through this presentation. It is about the issues that should be taken care of. Because the focus is about integration of and realization in the first hand of what is the necessity. So that makes the prime point in this presentation. Okay. Next pillar, we had, if we recall the previous slide, there were 4 pillars of it. We have our 2 pillars. The third pillar is environmental modeling. So we recall One Health is about, we have to repeat it and get reminded. One Health is about human, animal, and environment, and integrating all these things through policy making. So this is the third pillar that we are talking about. So this is about environmental changes. How AI is helping it. We understand the concerns. The concerns are observing the deforestation and urbanization and how it affects the climate change. How we can solve it and how we can at least serve it through AI is by collecting data about air quality, water pollution, deforestation, and habitats, landslides, and other disaster management is another issue that we can take care of, and climate change. We have been working on this, so the systems are being developed. Next. So, fourth and the last thing that we have to talk about when we take care of integration or One Health, is about helping the policymakers to make decisions. How they will make policy? They need data. The concern is that how the quality of data can be collected, but again the concern is how huge the data will become, how sparse. The sparse means we have so much data, but the data that will help in making decisions is very less. So how we need AI methods, or we can call machine learning methods, to support that. So that is the issue which has been taken care of while designing this paradigm, we can say, or this framework which points out these 4 pillars of this One Health or holistic system for well-being. I would say it's not only for health of human being, but it is well-being in the overall sense. So AI helps in collecting and managing use data and in also resource allocation. So many aspects of it technically and technologically we have already been talking about. So many things can be talked about. Next. So just a glimpse of how AI infrastructure will be required to support that. Here we have to. So the thing from the technological point of view, we have to take care that simple data relationship between human health and ecosystem. So rather it's important to also to build knowledge bases which complement database using non-monotonic So using non-monotonic logic-based artificial intelligence techniques, which help in causal models, which can be improved, and we can have some contradictory information which is found from field studies. So it is not only about collecting data, but the quality of data, which is actually giving you the what you can say, the features that explain the particular property, but we have to have contradictory examples also. Outside the example from stock market, as I was saying, there are examples from other fields also. So we needed data about normal stock behavior and anomalous. So until unless we have anomalous data, which is sparse, less in quantity, and unless we have the information about normal data, we cannot make a distinction. And so we need to have good quality of data, and these qualities that help in support. Okay, so
lastly, this One Health talks about integration. This comes as the end of we can say a slide which concludes or comes to the provisioning of what is actually required to have a system which helps prepare the holistic infrastructure or ecosystem. We need collaborations between what we say level-based collaboration, individual, population, or research-based collaboration, solution-based collaboration, third-party based collaboration. These are the viewpoints regarding on what things and how we should work. We cannot work in isolation because it is complex. So in India, solution-based approaches during emergencies and outbreaks and some sort of level-based collaboration have been in place. Sustainable development goals, and so many goals are there. SDG 5, SDG 3. We are having about health systems, education, and then we are having to talk about one thing that Sir was talking about, the industry which is upcoming with human intelligence, integration of human intelligence. Industry 5.0 and society 5.0. That is actually the focus of that takes into concern whatever raising ethical issues, the reliable, ethical, actually working. So the current context is that about Industry 5 says beyond Industry 4, industry cannot be in success unless AI is augmented with HI, the human intelligence. So we have to talk about integration of artificial intelligence with human intelligence. And then only we will reach to what we call society 5.0. So everything has to be taken care of, and this sustainable development will be, and I think you would appreciate that One Health idea is actually in sync with the idea of holistic society 5.0. So when there comes the challenges, we have to take care of all these issues with our privacy concerns. We have been talking about potential biases that we're talking about, and security and all aspects in next. So we conclude with this. We have to talk about innovations in all the fields, taking care of. But we have been innovating. We have been developing technologies, but we have to take care of integration of animal, human, and environment. That is the gist of this generation. So we have to have a holistic, integrated approach and with collaboration. That is the key. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Krishnapathy. You have presented briefly and nicely the paper sent by our Mahanti side. Now, go for lunch.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful thoughts on this paper. Now I'll announce the lunch and for all the students and the dignitaries.
So please go, you can leave for lunch. And I want everyone, every student to come here by 1:45. Please do come by 1:45. And please have a lunch, and sir, please you can come for lunch now. And report at sharp 1:45, everyone. Sharp 1:45. Okay? Please raise your hands. 1:45. Everyone, yes, 1:45. Thank you.
गाना क्या हुआ?
दो लाइन
हाँ, गाना क्या है?